Good morning, folks. Today I've got a Sony TA-N77ES power amp on the bench here. This particular one is missing the speaker selector switch and the cover for the power button. Power button is there, does work. Speaker selector switch is missing, and after looking at this, I understand why it was taken out. However, I don't believe there was anything wrong with it. It's gone. Don't know where it went. In any event, the owner brought it by, asked me if I could just get the A set of speaker terminals working. And I'll show you what I did to try and get that working and what the root cause finally turned out to be. But before I do that, I want to speak a little bit about some of the YouTube channels that people who have commented on my site have. Now, I try to look at and respond to every comment I get. I don't always get to all of them, but I try. And often I will see if the person making the comment has a YouTube channel. Some folks have no content. I didn't for a long period of time. But some have some amazing content. And while I can't name you all, the ones that come immediately to mind are my friend who helped me with my distortion analyzer. That would be Pack 1085. He's got some good videos. In fact, a video he put up for his bench tour got a comment from none other than Paul Carlson of Mr. Carlson's Lab. So that gives him some pretty serious street cred. Of course, there's Mark Zacharias, who I don't believe is making any new content, but the content he has up there shows that he clearly knows his stuff. There's My Messy Lab. There are many others. As I said, I can't name them all, but recently somebody made a comment on my channel. And as you know, I'm a great fan of the short form video. I try to pack as much information as I can, as I know how to, in my videos, because we all have busy lives, and I try to limit them to a half hour. But somebody who has a channel who goes by Duality Repair posted some videos, and I selected one that was a 6-minute video on an NAD integrated or power amp. I don't recall. I think it was a power amp that was stuck in protection. And in 6 minutes, with no words spoken, he covered a tremendous amount of valuable information, and I am just really impressed with this guy's channel. So check out Duality Repair. No affiliation, but a big fan. So anyhow, let's get to this Sony, and I'll show you what I found and how I found it. Alright, so here's a schematic showing the speaker selector switch. Your switch contacts are located right here, and they bring 39 volts from the collector of this transistor in through one of these 680 ohm 1 watt resistors to the relay contacts. Now this looks like they're right next to each other, and nothing could be further from the truth. But when these relays pull in, they close the contacts going to our speaker terminal. So it's part of the protection circuit. So what I wanted to do was to simply take a 680 ohm resistor, 1 watt, and just connect it directly to the cathode of this diode and the top of the coil here. And that should pull that in. However, it doesn't. And I thought perhaps there was a bad connection, and indeed, when I show you the little circuit board, I did find a bad connection there, but that was not the problem. And whoever pulled the selector switch was trying to figure out why they couldn't get this in, and I'll show you what I found there as well. This is the speaker selector switch. It has a small printed circuit board on the back that has the two 680 ohm resistors. And this is coming from our collector of this transistor here and feeding our power in. Now there's a white tracer on the ribbon connector so you can tell what's what. So I was able to jump from, I believe it was here to here, and I was able to get the B set of contacts to come in. Now you remember there are two relays, RY901, RY902. This will bring in the A contacts, this will bring in the speaker B contacts. And it goes, our power comes in, and then we go out here, or I believe here, and we go through here, through another board, and eventually get back to the speaker board here. And this is where our relays are. RY901, RY902. So I'm going to show you down in here where I was trying to jump it and what the problem turned out to be and how I found that. Okay, to try and get the relay to pull in, I attacked the 680 ohm 1 watt resistor from the power to, I think this may have been the B, it might be the A, I'm not sure, but we're going to find out and I'll show you how. But if you look down here at the board, and I'm going to move the camera and tripod a little, you can see that comes right off of here. One of these had broken loose, and I thought that's broken solder joint was the problem, but it turned out not to be. So this is the connector that went to the speaker selector, and then back here we have our speaker relay board with two relays, one here and one here, and our diodes, which if you recall were I believe D901 and 902. Yeah, these guys are right here. So the easiest way to do this was to take a DC power supply, set it to 40 volts, and then touch the cathode to each one of these to see if it would come on. Now I'm going to take my meter in continuity mode and show you that we have good continuity going to both. So let's see here. This is okay, that's the A terminal. And this, let's see here. That's the B. And what I'm doing, if you couldn't see because I'm not sure if you could, is we have our speaker selector here. So I was testing between here, and I'm sure my hand's in the way. It's testing between here and the diode, the cathode of D901, which goes across the relay, and then I was testing from the center conductor here to B. So just to recap real quick, this should be A, and you can hear it is, and then the second one is B, and you can hear that's right. So why doesn't it pull in when I have this resistor right here? Well, for that I got to turn the power supply on, and I'm going to take the mic off so you can hear this. So when we go back here and I put 40 volts to here, it should pull in the relay, and it's not. But if I go to relay B, you can clearly hear when I touch that, it's coming in. And let me do this so you can possibly see what I'm talking about. Nothing on A. So the A relay is not working, and I believe the relay itself is bad, but we're going to have to find out, and that necessitates pulling a lot of stuff off the back here. So I'm going to turn the camera off so you don't hear me curse, and we'll take a look and I'll find out what's going on. But my plan is I'm probably just going to have to swap these relays around so we can pull the A terminal in. Okay, so I have the speaker board out now, and I'll show you the steps I had to take to get to this point. There are bars that go on here on both sides, and I had to unscrew the front ones and the back ones because I had the front tilted down. I wanted to tilt the back down. And when I took all 4 screws out, of course, these came out. So I set them off to the side. And then there's a screw that goes down into the base on each side, on the back and the front. They're very similar. So that gave me some room to work here. However, I still needed a little more space in order to work this out. And I'm going to grab this off the tripod and just give you an idea of what I had to do. So we had to unplug this connector and this connector. The black connector goes here. The white connector goes down here. I had to unplug this from the speaker board from up here. And I had to unplug this from the AC board that goes to a connector right down there. Now I'm also going to have to unsolder the speaker terminals from the board, which is these big globs right here. I'm going to have to take the solder off of all of these. It looks like somebody started on this one. So I'll have to do that in order to get the terminals off so I can get to the relays. I believe the coil on this one is probably bad, so I'm just going to swap them. I'm going to get the numbers off the relays to see if one can be ordered so it can be replaced. But if my friend is unable to find a switch and it's unique to this unit, I think it's probably going to stay this way. So this is where we are so far. So I'm going to unsolder these speaker terminals so we can get to the relays. Okay, I got one set of terminals off, and I'm going to show you how I did that. I used both the desoldering, my desoldering tool, my Hakko FR302, I think it is, and the iron. Because it is my belief and it's been my experience that you're better off with high heat for a short period of time than low heat for a long period of time. So in order to get the solder off of these, I use both the iron and the desoldering. You can see it gets the bulk of it off there. Now I have to go back with the iron to heat them up and kind of pry these out. I wish I had a tip that was large enough to go over these. I think I would be able to get this done a little better, but I don't, and this works. I was able to get this off without damaging the PCB, and I marked where the positive terminals go, even though there's no way you can get them backwards. They're black in the middle, red on the outside. One way is as good as the other. So that's what we're going to do so we can get to the relays. And you can see we can get to one of them now, but not the other, so I have to remove the other one as well. Okay, so now with both sets of speaker terminals removed, we can see clearly both our relays. And if we measure the coil of RY902, the B speaker relay, you can see we get about 984 ohms, 0.98 k ohms. However, if we look at R1, we get 239 k ohms, 240 k ohms. So that coil is open. This relay needs to be replaced. But what we're going to do is we're just going to frog these and put the good relay in A, so the A terminals will become active. Okay, I've got both relays pulled here, and you can see the good relay is about 981 ohms, but out of circuit, this coil is completely open. What we were reading before was across the flyback diode on the board. So, having rethought that, I'm not going to put a defective relay back in because there's really no point. But one thing I found that alarmed me is, if you recall, I set my power supply to 39 volts to test it out because we have 39 volts here, but we also have these dropping resistors. And these relays, if you can read this, or 24 volt relays. So fortunately I just tapped them with the 40 volts, but I'm sure if I left it connected we would now have two bad relays, so shame on me. Should have thought about that. In any event, these are available, or at least equivalents are available for this. Since the switch is missing, I don't think I'm going to mess with that. I'm just going to make sure the A speaker terminals are going to be working. So I just wanted to point that out before I put this back together. Okay, so I've got this back panel put back together, and for those of you who have watched my channel before, you've probably heard me say I haven't made every mistake there is to make, but I'm working on it. Well, here's another one we could add to the list. While it's technically true you can put these on either way and the polarity will be correct, these holes are supposed to face up. And as Murphy's Law would have it, when I put it back together, they weren't. So that necessitated taking it back apart, pulling these, putting it in the proper orientation, and soldering them back in. But that wasn't the only problem. I had neglected to solder one of the leads on the relay, so I only had one channel. So, 2 mistakes for the price of one. I'm on a roll today. I'm not sure if it's Tuesday or just Monday the second time this week. But anyway, everything is now working. And I'm going to lay the front panel down to show you what I did, because if you recall, we had to put a 680 ohm resistor in. right here in series with this going to the relay to drop the voltage, because this is 39 volts and these, as I discovered, are 24 volt relays. So I have taken out this small connector here, which I'm going to tape into the bottom of the unit in case somebody ever comes across a switch for these, and they are particular to this unit. So I don't know if anyone's ever going to find a switch for this or not. But anyway, what I did was I unsoldered that, and I'm going to lift this off the tripod again. I soldered the 680 ohm resistor underneath the board right here. You can see it peeking out. It's a 1 watt resistor. But anyway, now that's permanently set, so terminal A is live all the time. So I'm going to put this faceplate back up, power this up, and play some YouTube safe music. My CD/DVD player on my bench has got issues, so I can only play the first track right now. You probably heard it a million times if you've watched this channel, but until I get off my lazy posterior and do something about that DVD player, this is all we're going to get right now. So let's fire it up. Okay, it's in protection. And now it's live. And both channels are now working. So this unit is now working. It's not an ideal solution, but the chances of finding another one of these switches are not good. So at least now the unit is usable. All I have to do is reassemble everything, and this will be, for all intents and purposes, done, unless somebody can find a switch. And we'll have to take the board off in the back again and put in another relay, because if you recall, this one's bad. So that completes this video. I thank everyone for watching, and as always, I like giving back to the community that's given me so much. Thanks a lot, folks.